May the gods protect me.
Hey guys, welcome to I Can Explain. This is going to be more where get to know is just getting to know characters in such a short form, but it's a way of you entering their world, and hopefully it's a gateway to you wanting to read their stories, or to you reading their stories. I Can Explain is the entire breakdown, my thought process when I first started thinking about a particular story, how I reached out to certain talent, the ups, the downs, the entire enchilada to where you get the BTS behind the scenes of what you have in front of you. And there's no real rhyme or reason to which ones I'm gonna do. It might be I've been saying once a month, but it might be once a month, it might be once every other month. It really depends because I also have another YouTube series. Essentially, I'm working on 3 YouTube series at once. 2 of them will cover the comic book side of things. One will cover the music side of things. And so I might just switch them up. I don't know. Either way, follow me and find out what I ended up deciding. But at the end of the day, it depends on how fast I can get these videos like edited and everything. So I'm doing all this myself. So I really want to make sure that I do things the right way, and each series has a very unique feel to it. So I want this to be different than anything else, And like even with this, with I Can Explain, I'm just breaking down not just the comics, but like maybe the short film. Like I have Late Justice the comic, and Late Justice the short film. They're sometimes two different things that leads to these creatives coming together, and these books, short films, whatever coming together. So I've gone back and forth with how, well, first like and subscribe, guys, follow, comment, all that good stuff. And I want to start off by saying that this one will be based off of the current short film that I'm pushing. It's called Hostage, Adrina, and I'm super excited about it. The score was produced by myself and Jim Star Pro. We have a EP that we will be breaking down, like I said, in a different series called Impending Success. Um, a lot of this is based off of, essentially, this is the beginning. And a lot of this is based off of, I did a short film called Late Justice, and I'm going to do a whole other video talking about that history and how I got there. Well, I've never been fully happy with Late Justice because of essentially all the behind the scenes stuff I went through to get that done. Am I proud of it? Absolutely. Is it something that was my absolute best? No. But at the time, I didn't know what I was doing. It kind of just got thrown onto me, and I just say, you know what? I'm gonna take advantage of this. So I wanted to do another short film for a while. I said, man, I can have another crack at this. I can do this. I know I can do this. And what ended up happening was it got delayed, mainly because of confidence issues. Oh, I'll never have enough money and to do this and set this up. And oh, this actor said they would do it, but then this actor didn't want to do it. And this, that, and the third, blah, 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 blah. It was just a whole lot of shit, right? And I was just kind of always making excuses. Well, then you go to 2025, and I'm sitting there, and I'm in the hospital bed after my heart attack, after my procedure. Procedure goes well, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, okay, I dodged a bullet here, a big bullet. I don't need a stent, I don't need anything. I just needed to rebuild my life. How do I do that? And when I was in the bed, I was ready to go home, but I knew they needed to keep me overnight, and they kept me overnight to monitor me. And essentially where I was, so essentially, if you've been in the hospital, it's like there's 3 levels of care. There's tier 1, where not really a threat at all, just let's patch you up and get you out. Tier 2 is that it can go either way, and tier 3 is like, yeah, you're at your worst. I was at tier 2 for a while, and it was pretty shaky because my blood pressure was so high. Even when they gave me meds, sometimes my blood pressure would drop significantly. But once again, when you're in the hospital and you're uncertain of things, you're kind of just sitting there and you're like, all right, what's next? So a lot of that had to do with that. And so just me not being sure, and once again, and them also just, dude, you're trying to get sleep, and as soon as you fall asleep, to pop in your room, you're popping medication, whatever. I remember once the procedure was over and I ate something, I said, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do this short film. And I didn't know a seamstress at the time, so I didn't. So I knew I couldn't just do Snake Root, because Snake Root was the original character I was gonna use for this short film. And there was three women who I reached out to that have the hair like Snake Root with the half shaved head and the mohawk. And all three of them never got back to me. Just never wouldn't return emails. And I said, okay, that means they're not in. Fine, that's okay. So then I shifted to Adrina. And in September of 2025, I did a photo shoot with Chelsea Gosher. And I found her on Backstage. And we got along pretty well, Did the photo shoot, put the stuff out there. At the time, I was sick, but I didn't know how bad it was. As a matter of fact, it's so funny. That day, I had a flat tire. I didn't know it until I got to the studio. I rented the studio out, which was like, it just so happened to be 3 minutes from my apartment. So I sent her on her way. I go put air in my tire. I get a new tire. Go to get a new tire. Now this is on a Sunday, mind you. So I'm sitting there like, God dang, how am I gonna find a place open? I found a place that's open. Got a new tire. And so I had met her before. We got along. I didn't think anything bad of it. So I said, you know what? I'm just gonna pitch it to her. The worst she can tell me to do is piss off, right? So I pitched it to her and I showed her pictures of Adrina and everything like that. And she was like, okay, so we got the numbers and everything down, business side of it taken care of. She said, yeah, I'm down. So, get out of the hospital, maybe about a month later, so let's say end of November, I'm sitting there, and I hadn't made any movement. Even though I had my actress, I had my co-director, and my camera guy down. I call him the co-director, but this one, it doesn't matter. And I hadn't put any work towards renting a place out or really scouting anything. I kind of just got back in the minutia of everything. And finally, one day I was eating steak. It's the last time I ate beef. That's why I remember this story so vividly. Last time I ate beef, I legitimately was sitting there and was like, okay, you just had this life or death situation and you've learned nothing. What are you going to do? And I looked myself in the mirror that night, and I remember I stayed up for 2 hours extra, tired. But I was looking for places in Atlanta to film, the short film. I didn't write a script or anything. I just said, I'll know when I found it. I found that place. Then I started writing the script. I started presenting. Then it was full pedal to the metal. Now I'm all in on Adrina. Now I start going to stores looking for stuff. But here's a problem now. Adrina has on shorts and that fucking tank top, right? You're not finding any of that shit in the stores, so you have to go on Amazon. Great. So now I have to entrust my awful eyes to what am I going to do? I don't know this woman's measurements. I obviously text her and ask for her measurements. I don't know any of this shit. It's a woman's clothing, which I've bought before. That's not the problem. The problem is like seeing it in your hand and being able to say, I like this, as opposed to then being like, okay, what am I doing online? So I said, you know what? Amazon has a pretty good refund policy. So I was looking for everything. I found the red shorts first. And once I found the red shorts, I seen something with her size, because her size is a small. And the biggest knock on them that gave them like a 4-star rating was, if you get the right, correct size for someone, they're going to be too tight. You have to get a size bigger. It said that in one of the reviews. So okay, I'll do medium. Sure enough, that was perfect. It fit right, because Chelsea is a thicker woman. Even though she's tiny, she's built pretty well. And so I was sitting there like, okay, got that, got the belt, got everything I needed. And so I'm sitting there, I'm excited now, got the guns, everything from Amazon. So the next thing you know, now I'm perfecting the script. I don't want any talking. I want voiceovers. So I reached out to Alexis Valentine, because she has a great sounding voice. I want her to voice Sasha Simmons. I wrote the dialogue for her, and I told her, read the script. If you want to improvise, do it. So she sent me several takes. The take you hear, obviously, is the take I like the most. And I thought also it was her best take. So then I sent the script that I want Chelsea to read for Adrina. Sent her to her. I think she gave it to me like maybe a month before filming, which is fine. We just need it for the final product. So we did that. And so now I have that done, and I was gonna actually have Ruiz voiceover too. I sent it to Quentin Merricks, who created Sasha Simmons. He never got back to me about it. He told me he wanted to do it, but he never got back to me about it. But I think he's also like overseas right now, or he was overseas at the time or something, but he wanted to do it. And then I did the voiceover for it, but I didn't like my voice. But I did two different voiceovers. One was for a news anchor, and one was for the Ruiz one. I didn't like the Ruiz one. I didn't like my. I still don't like. I don't personally like my voice at all. But I was taking myself out of my hypercritical mind about myself and putting it in the listener's mind. I just didn't come off well. But the news anchor, I came off really well as. That will be a part of part two's video. But I really like what I did with that. So I said, I'm keeping this, dumping that. And then the more I start angling stuff, I was like, man, okay, even if I have the Ruiz voiceover, I don't know how this is going to fit. Now, at the time, I had a manager, and we had a potential sponsorship for some face cream that we were going to put in the film, product placement. And it was going to be a part of the script where Adrina was going to wash her face. Because at one point in time, many years ago, I was living with a woman. We were together. And she had a really bad day. She was texting me all day, really bad day. So she gets home, I'm playing a video game. I put the video game down. I start hugging her. I say, "Do you want to talk about it?" Now, at that point in time, her and I dated for long enough to where I knew uh, when to push it and when not to. With her, it was to never push it. Just spoiler alert. So she told me no, she didn't want to talk about it. So okay, go through the night, go to bed. I wake up at 3 in the morning. The bathroom lights on, and I hear her humming. I'm like, "What the blue? What is going on?" I go in there. 3 in the morning, she's putting on a full face of makeup, and the sink is going, and I'm like, I don't what's happening right now. And next thing you know, once she's done putting the makeup on, she literally takes a whole 2 handfuls of water and splashes her face and takes all the makeup off. And she just starts crying again. And she looks at me and says, I thought that would make me feel better. And I was so confused. I was like, man, she's lost it. And in our 4-year relationship, that was the healthiest relationship we had. We broke up a few weeks later, but that was inevitable. We both knew it. But we sat down for like 3 hours just talking. Not about that, just about just talking. And that was, to that point, the healthiest conversation I'd ever had with a woman. And me understanding the complexities of what she was trying to say and what she was trying to do, I was like, man, that's interesting to me. And I wanted that to be a part of the Adrina story. Well, the person who wanted sponsorship really wanted to control the movie. Now, mind you, they're paying me to put it in there, but they're offering me like $50. I was like, what? I said, do you even know about the character? I don't need to know about the character. I just want it to be this. I said, well, okay, we're not doing that. I said, but I can do this to where it'll be very productive for you. But she wanted to control everything, and I just wasn't interested. And then my manager at the time he was really bad at his job, and he didn't do his job very well. So that scene was cut out of it, so that's why the short film runs under like 4 minutes because of that. Well, anyways, that was cut out of it. And so just, once again, the whole point of like the scripts is like the script can be changed, but you have to adjust on the fly. And the one thing I learned from being a photographer is you can never get enough on film. You can never get enough. You just can't get enough. And so as the day's approaching, we get to it, and Mintaka, the co-director and camera guy, film videographer, he's from North Carolina, so he's driving in from North Carolina. Well, I set it up for Atlanta, so I get there the day before, because when I get there, I want to get in, set everything up, look at everything. I look at everything. I wasn't really too impressed with the place. It's in pictures is beautiful. It's like that sandwich from McDonald's. They have it looking beautiful, but we both know it's shit, right? It wasn't a shit place, but it wasn't as it was advertised. For all the hassle that particular Airbnb owner kind of puts you through, it wasn't really worth it. Well, next thing you know, I get there the day before. Chelsea gets there the day before, I believe, and we're set up for that Saturday at noon. Well, Bentaka tells me, videographer, he tells me, hey man, I'm gonna be extremely late. Well, he said I was gonna be late because he was driving in, but he kept hitting traffic. I was like, all right, cool. So Chelsea gets to the Airbnb early. And so we were just waiting on him, and we ended up getting into like these deep ass conversations, which I think made the connection stronger as far as just her trust for me. And I took some promo photos that I'm going to place in this video of her with the mask on. Now, I didn't have, as far as the mask goes, the reason why we never see the mask is because it's a generic mask off of Amazon. And I didn't want it to ever be on camera because I wanted to get the actual mask made. Well, as we speak now, the actual mask is almost done. It just got printed and it's going to be painted. I'm gonna also put that on here as well. I'm super excited for it. I mean, it looks remarkable. And so that was the point of her, was like kind of to accept, you know, is to accept uh, who she is. And so that's the point of it, right? And so I said, that's okay if we just end with her accepting the mask, but we never see it, right? So I'm kind of just juggling these thoughts in my head. And I was trying to figure out ways to have movie magic to where it can look realistic, right? But I also want to take some old school thoughts to this process too. Like I said this before, I'll say it again. Like most people don't know this, but once you see it, once you hear it, you can't unsee it. The old school Batman with Adam West in it. If you ever paid attention, every bad guy, when they were on camera, the screen was tilted, it was slanted. And when Batman or Batgirl or Alfred or Robin were on camera, it was not. So, but if they were fighting the bad guys, it was tilted. I wanted that to be a thing. So that's why the camera's going in the direction it is with that. So essentially, Mintaka gets there maybe like 2 hours late, but we only filmed it. It only took us like maybe an hour or so to film that, a little over an hour. Me and Mintaka worked pretty well together. We were great together. We were fast together, and it was once again because of certain things like the sponsorship being pulled or us pulling sponsorship. The place was supposed to have steps, but we ended up getting transferred to a different Airbnb. That's why I said the place wasn't too impressive. Like there's a whole scene where she was gonna walk past the painting, not actually stare at it. So this was just on the fly movie magic type of stuff. But then we go to the song.
Perfect.
So Hostage I created right after the heart attack. It was the first song I wrote. I get home, I take my medication. It's the first song. Like I had written pieces of the song and other songs prior, and then once I was finally clear-headed from the pneumonia, from COVID, from the heart attack, everything I was seeing that I put pieces back to the puzzle, and it was all one puzzle of songs. So Hostage was not the song. Originally, I sent that song to him and said, I think this is the song I'm going to use. But then I said no. So then me and Gemstar Pro went back to the studio and recorded the Adrina theme song, which is out now, and which is probably what I'll lead this whole thing with. But that one I was going to use, and it was going to be that. So I'm talking to Mintaka. I'm like, what song you think about putting with this? He's like, it's got to be Hostage. He was like, it just has to be that. It just works with this so well. Now, I wasn't thinking about what I was saying during Hostage with what she was going through. But the more feedback I've gotten, critiques I've gotten since it's gotten come out, it's been like, man, that what you're saying fits what she's going through as a comic book character. And I was like, oh shit, I guess it is. I never thought about it that way. So it came together really well. At first, when I first saw it, being 100% honest, I didn't like it. I hated it. It was because I saw the flaws in it. Like if you actually look at the credits, there's a misspelling of Cabrera, Adrina Cabrera. If you actually look, you'll see where we originally had the mask next to the painting, and then when Montaka got there, he said, "Oh no, I can get the shot of the mask being in the closet." I said, "Oh really?" So I see the mistakes, and then I watched it 3 more times because I said to myself, "Man, you're doing it again, man. Like, is it just it just meant for you just to like not be doing this type of stuff?" And I said, let me watch again. I watched it 3 more times in a row, back to back to back, and I was like, no, this came out much better in my head. Like this came out much better than I'm saying to myself in my head. Like right now it's like, hey, this is the vision I actually had. Like why, like it wasn't like once again, yeah, we don't have the steps and we didn't have the sponsorship, but like that the sponsorship was that's like how I see it's accessory. It's an accessory. it wasn't necessary. And so I said to myself, no, this is good. This is perfect because I wanted to be 3 parts. And this is leading into part 2 really, really well. And so I was like, okay, no, I like it. And so once all 3 parts are recorded and they're put together and everyone sees it all, it will be beautiful. And I know that. So that is the history and the behind the scenes full story of the short film Hostage, Adrina, well, it's Adrina Hostage, um, featuring Chelsea Gosher, Alexis Valentine. I'm super excited about it. Please, if you have not watched it, the link will be in the description. Check it out. Like it, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. This is the first episode of I Can Explain. I hope I explained it well. Like I said, I want to do one of these a month. Just talking about the different projects from start to finish. Um, I just want to make sure I can do justice to the editing because recording is not that problem. Like you're gonna see a 20-minute recording for 20 minutes is not hard, but then editing the footage and making sure it all comes out to being entertaining is the next part. So, anyways, guys, that's all I have for I Can Explain. I am the Slow Chemical. We are out.